So far this year, a theme that has emerged within my own life is kind of reclaiming my creativity. In this pursuit, I've learned that being creative is so much more than simply creating art, and I think it's a very necessary element of experiencing a life of fulfillment. The act of being creative, whether it is through creating art or viewing something with a fresh perspective, is about tapping into the creative source. The creative source is everything that exists when we are able to function from a state of inspirational flow. It's open, abundant, spacious, and has no limits for what is possible. So when I'm discussing the importance of creativity in my own life, it's because I believe the more we teach ourselves to tap into this abundant landscape, the more it can impact our lives as a whole. Life itself becomes one driven by the creative source and therefore breaks down barriers for what is possible. Creating helps us to train our brains to create and perceive the life that we desire. It's a passage into our deepest desires and fulfilling those, sometimes within the material realm, but many times it's not material at all. It's a feeling that's being cultivated. It's a passage to reclaim our true selves, especially in a world that is very uncertain right now. I want to share what's been working in my life as a means to step more into my own power, inspiration, and find more hope. So here's how I've been resetting creatively to reconnect to my true being. I recently finished reading this book by Dr. Tara Swart, and I really love how she challenges the idea of manifestation kind of as we know it. I think that a lot of times we think about manifestation and we just think it's like sitting down, meditating, visualizing your dreams, and all of a sudden they magically come true. And she really emphasizes how important action is in the manifestation process and how we can make that action even more powerful when we take intentional action, looking for the opportunities that would actually help us to get where we want to be. There was a chapter on logic, and she kind of talked about how logic is kind of overrated in our society in the sense that our own logic can have our own biases. She challenges that and kind of talks about maybe we should be looking at things with new eyes. I've been trying to go about life right now with kind of a beginner's mind, especially since I'm out of school now. I'm not really learning in terms of like learning is a part of my routine. So I'm trying to make life itself a learning process right now. And a lot of that is trying to look at life with new eyes and like, what do I want to do with life, and trying to have a beginner's mind. This has also been so helpful for me to have this beginner's mindset in terms of perfectionism, because a lot of times I have this mindset that if I'm focused on a goal, even something as small as like not doom scrolling on my phone, right? Some point in the day, I go on my phone without thinking and I'm like scrolling for a few minutes and I catch myself. A lot of times my mind will automatically go to, oh, you failed. Like this day is wasted now. I'm trying to rewire my brain to see each moment of brand new awareness as a new moment to do better and to not be too hard on myself for the mistakes that I make, because ultimately finding that awareness and approaching each moment with a new sense of wonder, because each moment is so different from the last. And now I'm going to do a little bit of journaling. I want to mention creative burnout here because I think we need to understand its source better to access creativity. The creative source is open and abundant, while burnout is driven by restriction, whether from feeling stressed, from limited resources, or even from our minds forming boundaries on what we can and cannot do. But when we are able to tap into that spaciousness, for example, coming to practice our creative hobbies with an open mind, we can experience more inner liberation. I've experienced this affecting my life as a whole. When I practice tapping into this spacious, abundant feeling, it becomes easier to integrate it into the rest of my life. Life becomes this thing very interconnected with creativity, almost as if the creative source is life itself. Regardless of how artistic we may consider ourselves, the creative source is something we all have the potential to tap into. I think this idea of having a beginner's mind is one way we can all practice transitioning into a more creative state. Resetting creativity in my life has become so important because ultimately accessing this spaciousness isn't about who can create objectively better art. It's about creating the feeling of abundance, bliss, happiness, and having limitless possibilities within our time on Earth.